What's up, guys? This is Dylan. Um, just went and saw Spider-Man: Far From Home. Um, Solid movie, but uh, first we're gonna do the review, no spoilers, and then later on I'll let you know when. Then we'll get into spoilers, so you can watch it either way. You can watch it with spoilers or without spoilers. You can choose when you leave and whenever. So all good. I'm sitting in my hot car right now. If you hear the AC blowing, that's just because it's stinking hot. Uh, had a first before I get into the movie review, I just want to say pretty kind of a crappy experience with the local AMC here, Fiesta Square in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Some last 3D showing, and it's like my birthday showing. I'm going to see it myself, and I'm a big proponent of 3D movies. And just about every Marvel film since they started offering it, I've seen in 3D in the theater. So this one, uh, didn't have a chance to go see the other ones just because it's been crazy busy. So got lucky, and this was the last one. Going in to see it. It's my birthday thing. I went in, and thanks to AMC, I got my free birthday drink and popcorn, and I came in and sat down and waited on the movie to start, and waited some more. A couple had the full theater to myself. Then two other guys came in, and waited. It was 30 minutes after the movie was supposed to start, and we finally got. We went and talked to. I went and talked to somebody. And then 10 minutes later, they went and talked to somebody, and then 10 minutes later, we finally got somebody to come in and tell us what was going on. That apparently they had a hard drive malfunction for the projector. The projector went down. Understand, not their fault, but just the way they handled it was not good customer service. They said, yeah, we're gonna put you in another showing of Spider-Man. It's at this other time, but it was like already like 10 minutes past when the time was supposed to start, and so I was just kind of venting to the guy. I was like, yeah, man, I know it's not your fault. The guy that spoke to us was incredible, great customer service, very apologetic, very nice. So it's not his fault. But I was just like, man, I'm sorry, dude. This is my birthday, and this is 3D is a big deal to me. And is there any way we could do a 3D? Or is there another 3D showing? What can we do? And he's like, sorry, that's it. So got into another Spider-Man. He said you have to go to the front desk and get your tickets exchanged, and the manager will come talk to you, and he'll probably, take care of you. I was like, okay, well, okay, cool. So at least I'm still getting to see Spider-Man, right? And I know 3D might not mean anything to you, but I love 3D. That's like I'm a advocate for 3D. Um, but so I go to the front and I got my giant popcorn and giant drink, and popcorn's cold by now because 30 minutes past the movie started. And go to the front and wait on the girl, and she's like, "Oh, I can't take care of you right now, right here. We're gonna have to have you go outside." It's the same desk. The setup is like she can walk to the front and back of the desk. One side is inside, the other side is outside. She had me go around with my drink and food. I was like, hey, I was trying not to go outside, with my food, because of the flies and stuff. So stood out there for another 10 minutes working with her. She got my stuff transferred over. Still not clear on if they refunded the difference between 3D and not 3D, or if they refunded me completely. Of course, it'll take a few days for that money to come back on. Um, just not real clear. Had me standing outside batting flies the whole time, and then 30 minutes passed. When the movie, well, actually, it's like 15, 20 minutes when the movie's the next movie was supposed to start, and she had me going into that one. I was just like, can you please hurry? I don't want to miss the movie. And so I get in, and same two guys. There's only us three in that theater as well. And so we get over there, and I walk in just in enough time to sit down, the movie started, didn't miss anything, luckily. Um, but then we never saw a manager. We all three left together, not together, but left the theater, the building together. Nobody spoke to us again. Just I, I'm not real clear on what's going on, but yeah, just crappy customer service. I know things happen that are out of their control, but just the way they handled it was not the best. Especially just my circumstances. You know, something I've really been looking forward to. Last 3D showing, my last shot, and it crapped out on me. You know, not their fault. Circumstances suck, but they didn't. You know, they didn't even try to just put us in a different one. Oh, we'll show it over here. But anyway, uh, so moving on. Usually this AMC is decent, so that's this is a one time deal for me. Well, no, this is the second time I've come and they not showing the movie because something's wrong with the projector. But either way, let's move on to Spider-Man. Turned out great movie. It was everything I was hoping it would be. A lot of people I'm seeing online uh, comparing it to Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire. I'm gonna have to put it up there too. It is one of the best. I loved Into the Spider-Verse. I thought it was amazing. This one, not as awesome as that one, but a close second. It's still really good. Really well put together, really well acted. Story was great. Jake Gyllenhaal, amazing job, very convincing. Uh, of course, I want to say Tobey Maguire, but okay. So said it was hot in my car. It was extremely hot, and my phone overheated in the middle of the video. So now I'm home. I'm in my YouTube studio or whatever. Also, the shakes. That's me on the table. I apologize for that. But anyways, as I was saying, it's very well acted, very well put together. Tom Holland, excellent job as Spider-Man. Is competing for my favorite spot to be my favorite Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. I'm a Tobey Maguire guy, but Tom Holland is knocking it out of the park. um, except that he's British. But anyways, um, so yeah, um, I like the way I like the way things were handled. I'd heard some spoilers ahead of time, and I wasn't sure how they'd happen or whatever. By the way, stop spoiling crap on in your headlines and your thumbnails. Quit, quit all the clickbait nonsense. This movie's been out for 3 weeks, and I know everything that happened, and that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So, anyway, I do like how it all was handled. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but here, I think right now, we're going to go into spoiler territory. Uh, go see the movie. Definitely don't miss it. Um, and also catch the FOMO show every week on YouTube, where we talk. There's a fuzzball where we talk about the top 3 things you may have missed in pop culture every week. And also, if you're going to go see a movie, I'd appreciate if you would follow the links below that I've got posted to Fandango. We have an affiliate deal with them. So, at no extra cost to you, it would help us out, and we'd appreciate that. Thank you very much. You're going to go see a movie anyway, right? Might as well help a brother out. So, we're going to get into spoiler territory right now. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, now's the time to go. Thanks for watching. And here we go. So we're going to wait. 5, 4. That's not 4. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoiling now. So this was so well done. Uh, so a couple of things. I mean, obviously the end credit scenes were a huge deal. Those are the main things that got spoiled for me. The end of the movie, if Mysterio survived or whatever. Um, it doesn't seem. I mean, it seems like he did, but I mean, he's the master of illusions. I like how this is actually a hat tip to Mysterio's introduction in the comics, where he posed as a good guy. And I mean, if you remember The Incredibles Part One, it was basically like a syndrome type situation. It seems like where he, sets himself up as a hero. Um, but I did like that he had a team working with him, and it wasn't just him, and then he actually was kind of unstable. But he did call Tony Stark out on some stuff that you know, he had issues with there, But um, let's see. The whole illusion sequence was phenomenal. It was amazing the way that was done, and just let me just say, taking Spider-Man out of New York City and um, taking him away out of the country puts him in a new environment. But on top of it, the illusion scenario was just amazing. Just seeing him in a whole different thing. I mean, I know we've seen him in space and we've seen him, which is a good play by Marvel Studios because we have seen Spider-Man fighting crime in New York City so much. It's refreshing. And now at the end of the movie, when he goes back to New York, it was like, oh wow, he's in New York. So that was pretty cool. Um, to where yeah, we're not tired of him being in New York, and we're actually kind of wanting him to get back into New York. Um, Speaking of getting back, I did see uh, between the time of these videos that Spider-Man Far From Home hit $1 billion. So it has joined the $1 billion club. Congrats to the team that did that. But also that means that if it so recently there was some details leaked about the Sony Marvel deal about Spider-Man because it was kind of hush hush and there was a lot speculated about that. But something that leaked recently is that if Spider-Man Far From Home didn't hit $1 billion, Spider-Man rights were going to revert back to Sony, and Marvel had their shot or couldn't do it or whatever. But it has hit $1 billion, so we will see a Spider-Man 3 at least. Um, what goes beyond that, I don't know. That's still kind of Mysterio, all up in the air. So we'll see what goes from there. I would love to have everything back in the hands of Sony or Marvel rather. I don't want to see Sony have this. Although right now there's, it's if it was up to Sony, they'd be putting him in everything and anything and just spitting it out there. They did do a good job with Into the Spider-Verse. I haven't seen Venom yet just because I'm not a huge fan of Sony, to be honest, when it comes to Spider-Man properties. Just I don't like the way they handled him, and I would really prefer Marvel having their own in their own possession because they can do it better, obviously. Anyways, Jake Gyllenhaal, amazing Mysterio. Tom Holland, amazing Spider-Man, but you already knew that. So some major implications are, of course, Nick Fury not being Nick Fury and Maria Hill not being Maria Hill, and them posing them being scrolls. If you saw Captain Marvel, you understand what that means. And if you read any of the comics or you're familiar with the comics, you understand that that could also have bigger implications in Secret Invasion. Although right now Talos and his party seem to be working with Nick Fury, something could fall. There could be some fallout, or there could be factions of the Skrulls that are not down with Talos's working with the humans and would pose as fakers. So hold on just a second. Let me go ahead and I'm getting notifications. I put it on airplane mode. Almost said airport mode. Anyways, um, so if they go into Secret Invasion territory, that has a huge implication on the greater Marvel universe, where some heroes aren't who they say they are, or we don't know who's who, and they could technically change actors or bring people back who are dead or long gone that turned out not to be who they were. Or I mean, it's really just a great way to clear the slate because if a certain storyline didn't have the intended outcome, fans didn't really care for it. They could scratch that and just say, oh well, that was a scroll. And I can't think of anybody at this point that the fans just aren't super happy with. You know, um, so we'll see how that plays out. Nick Fury, did he or did he not? Or he did. Well, I don't know if he got dusted or not. Was that the scroll Nick Fury? We don't know. Nick Fury seems to be living it up in space, though. With the I don't know what's up with that. Who's got my shoes? What's going on with that? If they're leaning into the lighthearted fury of Captain Marvel, that to be honest, I was not really a big fan of, but that is kind of a way that they could rewrite who Nick Fury is. Um, Not to mention all the multiverse stuff that is coming, even though Mysterio did lie about him being from an alternate Earth and all that kind of stuff. That is still happening in the Marvel universe, in the MCU. That is still a thing because Endgame established it, and they have confirmed it with Comic-Con, and Doctor Strange 2 is going to be into the multiverse of madness. He's always been able to go into the multiverse, and if you saw Doctor Strange 1, he did go into the multiverse and showed that there was a multiverse, and even Ant-Man going down to the tiny level, subatomic level. I can't think of the word right now, but anyway, you know what I mean. So for them to go through time and all that kind of stuff and show during Endgame that there were alternate timelines, they could use that also to reroute character stories and plot lines and also introduce other versions of characters. Right now, there is a rumor that there's going to be the OG Nick Fury from the comics, the one that's got the, like the wings, kind of like I do, uh, the white guy that was the original Nick Fury in the comics, and Sam Jackson is playing the Ultimate Universe Nick Fury. That's kind of like everybody's modern favorite. It actually was based off of him in the first place, so it's perfect casting for that. But anyway, there's another rumor that Tom Holland has even said that he would love if there was a Spider-Verse movie and Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire he were to cross over and be in a movie with them, and that would be super cool. Just because I'm a big fan of Spider-Man, I got my Spider-Man shirt on to go see Spider-Man, and I have all the movies, the Spider-Man movies, except for Into Spider-Verse. I don't have that one yet. But anyway, that has big implications on who is who and what that means. Was the original Nick Fury dusted? Has he been in space the whole time, uh, just chilling, just kind of like masterminding behind the scenes? Because that's what Nick Fury does. We don't know. We'll see soon. Or is it like Talos Nick Fury said, which is the scroll that was Nick Fury? That there's a lot going on, and he's being ghosted by teenagers and doesn't know what's going on anymore because he's been out of the loop for 5 years. Um, so, interesting take on that. Big implications going forward. And so, also, um, J. Jonah Jameson is in the MCU, and he's not just in the MCU, he is the original actor from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies that I cannot think of his name right now. It's one of Lydia's favorite actors. Uh, I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, perfect casting. Just cast him again, and that kind of leans almost into the multiverse thing again because original Tobey Maguire movie, he's got the crew cut type thing going, and this one he's got more of like the balding thing going on. And I like how they've portrayed him almost like an Alex Jones type guy that's putting kind of stuff out there and fake stuff out there. Um, well, I don't know how you feel about Alex Jones, but Infowars stuff. But anyways, it looks like they're using him as a an example of this type of media that J. Jonah Jameson is in this universe, which is very interesting because his thing with Spider-Man. So that gives him room to rant like J. Jonah Jameson does, and similar to Alex Jones and that type of thing, if you've ever seen that. But um, on a national stage, giving away his secret identity, giving away Peter's secret identity, that is a big deal. I like the way that was handled. I've said before, I heard that that was going to happen in this movie. That in the MCU they don't really have um, secret identities per se, just because the whole Tony Stark thing. Uh, I am Iron Man. Everybody kind of knows each other, but in the comics, it is a big thing, and it's always been a big thing because, like they talked about so much in this movie that if you know what's going on, and they kind of used MJ to craft that story line, that if you know what's going on, it puts you in danger. And Mysterio knew, and he went straight for his classmates and all that, and so that was nice to see them honor that, and then to set up the stakes for that, and then to blow his identity. I mean, where he's right there in the middle of everybody, and then set him up as a potential bad guy. I just thought it was masterful. It was amazing. I liked it a lot, especially with J. Jonah Jameson at the helm of that storyline. It was pretty great. But that also means that potentially Mysterio is not dead. At least his team isn't, and they're not done causing trouble in Spider-Man's world. So um, we'll see how that plays out. Of course, I've got no information for that going forward. Comic-Con, they did not announce a Spider-Man 3. It might have been pending the $1 billion deal that I talked about earlier. We will see. However, there were several sequels that they didn't talk about during Comic-Con because they've got D23, the Disney conference coming up next month, and or in August, I should say, whenever you're watching this. So they're going to announce and talk about a whole lot more in the MCU going forward. I mean, you've got Captain Marvel, you've got Blade. Well, they talked about Blade, but when it's going to happen, more details about it. Black Panther 2. Um, let's see, there's a couple other words. Guardians 3. Um, but there are several. You get the point. Kevin Feige said that they almost announced Phase 5 because it's basically already set up, because Phase 4, which is where we're going after Spider-Man Far From Home, uh, is only going to last 2 years. And historically, or not historically, but in the past, they've been at least 3 years long. Phase 5 was like 5 years long, I think, because there was a lot to set up, and they took their time, did it right. But right now, you're talking about 10 properties, including 5 movies, 5 shows that are going to be happening over the next 2 years. That's a lot going on story-wise, and a lot of information to cover. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Spider-Man, everything that's playing out going forward, how uh, they talked about the greater world and what's going on with the Avengers and what's going on with Nick Fury, and nobody really knows what's going on. And bad guys like Mysterio taking advantage of that, could be setting up a Dark Reign scenario, which is a storyline where Norman Osborn comes in and sets up his own Dark Avengers, and so that would be really cool to see that happen. And of course, Kevin Feige said the new Avengers is coming. The new team is coming, and so we don't know if that's going to be a new Avengers, Dark Avengers, whatever. But it is really interesting and really fun to speculate about. So if you're interested in more on that, of course, keep up with the FOMO show. We talk about that on a regular basis. So I will see you next time. Appreciate it. And don't forget to click the links below if you're going to go see a movie. Use Fandango. I appreciate that. Peace.